Cowherd was going off on Purdy yesterday. I don't know if you saw that video.
I did a segment on it. Yeah,
I did one too. And it's interesting. It's like he cherry picked some stats. Okay. But it's like, they're very misleading. And then he goes and throughout the Niners have the fourth best offense in the first half and the 22nd best offense in the second half, which was an interesting stat.
Yep.
And one that I think is worthy of discussing. And I want to discuss it with you, but he immediately goes to the conclusion that, well, Shanahan's play script is in the first half, and the second half, he doesn't have the Shanahan play script, and it's all Brock Purdy. And it's like, dude, who do you think's calling the plays in the second half? It's Kyle Shanahan. He's calling the plays the entire game. I don't know that you can credit Kyle Shanahan and say, oh, he's the reason they've got the fourth best offense in the first half, but Brock Purdy's the reason they have the 22nd best offense in the second half. I just thought that was so weak for him to – I mean, there are legitimate reasons that we could discuss for why the Niners aren't as good in the second half as they are in the first. Turnovers, fatigue, conditioning, lack of speed, lack of separation. There's all kinds of things we could point to that might be viable. But I don't think his comparison of, well, the Shanahan's got the script in the first half, and that's the key. And Brock Purdy's, you got to have GPS on the way home, and he can't do it. I mean, I don't know why so many people are in such a rush to make themselves look bad by ripping Brock Purdy and not really believing in him.
It's funny because that was one of his opening dialogues during the herd yesterday. And then 24 hours later, after the Niners won in a big spot, Colin Cowherd is complimentary of Brock Purdy and said that win over the Seattle Seahawks was very impressive. Some background on me. My previous job, I was a television news reporter, and I got to see how sometimes there is a twisting of facts and narratives in order to fit a certain agenda to back up a certain argument. This happens in news media. It happens in sports media. And I thought it was classic during Cowherd's bit yesterday when he was like, Brock Purdy has a lower completion percentage than Will Levis. He has fewer total touchdowns than Justin Fields. He has more giveaways than Daniel Jones. All of those facts are technically true. But there's no doubt in his mind, there's no doubt in anybody's mind that Brock Purdy is better and way better. It's not even close than Will Levis, Justin Fields, and Daniel Jones. But when you spew those types of facts to fit your argument, it makes you look really smart. Look, I've said this year about Brock Purdy. He's had to deal with adversity. He's had to deal with marquee players out. I think this team in general has had to deal with a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. The defense and the special teams units have done him no favors. The offensive line protection has been really bad. I think that Brock Purdy facing adversity, having to do more with less, having changing parts, chaos around him, without Trent Williams, without Brandon Ayuk, all throughout training camp, has actually played the best football of his career as the starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And I was having this conversation earlier with one of my coworkers. A reason why I love watching Brock Purdy play is nowadays in the NFL, I think quarterback play has suffered from when I was growing up and obviously from when you were younger, Larry, where quarterbacks had such a control at the line of scrimmage. Joe Montana, Steve Young, John Elway, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers, where they could dictate the game at the line of scrimmage, make audibles, make adjustments, and what made those quarterbacks great on top of the high football IQ and being able to read what defenses are doing, accuracy, anticipation, pocket feel. Nowadays, with all these college concepts being introduced at the NFL level, it's almost like quarterback plays are premeditated. They know where they're going with the football. It's all based on play design and scheme where we're not seeing the nuances of the quarterback position. And what Brock Purdy does at a really elite level, he's a quick processor. He throws with timing, accuracy, and anticipation. He can layer balls in there. He has great pocket feel and pocket mobility. And he's mastered some of these nuanced quarterback things, which help him make up for the lack of arm talent, the lack of height. And then on top of that, what he does creatively, being able to extend plays and make plays with his legs, they're really elite traits. He's dropping the arm down to different types of angles. And of course, this is a case of draftism as well, where if Purdy wasn't Mr. Irrelevant, if he was taken in the first or second round, people wouldn't always have to form arguments and find data to go against him. Last night, on the Deebo Samuel 76-yard touchdown, I'm seeing Ben Solak tweet out, this is what drives film watchers of Brock Purdy crazy. He threw the ball up for grabs, the safety whiffed on Deebo, and it's going to go down as a 76-yard touchdown. Well, hold on. How about how Brock Purdy was able to shift in the pocket and slightly slide to his right to make that throw possible? How about Brock Purdy being able to read that when Brandon Ayuk ran the up and in, it drew the safety over, giving him a lane to throw that football to Deebo Samuel? How about the tight window throw to capitalize in the red zone to George Kittle, where he had to fit that ball in the tiniest of windows, and he was able to do that toward that pylon? How about the second George Kittle touchdown in the red zone, where Purdy gave that shoulder shake to shift the safety over to open up a throwing lane to George Kittle? How about what Purdy was able to do under pressure? Purdy was pressured on 15 of 31 dropbacks last night, but it didn't result in any Seahawks sacks. Brock Purdy went under pressure last night, was 9 of 14, 159 yards, and a passer rating of 142.6. Those who know ball know that Brock Purdy is really legit, but because he's smaller, because he's Mr. Irrelevant, people are always trying to prove themselves right because they've always been against Brock Purdy, when in reality, he's one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL.
I always get the kick out of the people who are like, I love this guy, but then I'm going to post like 19 different stats that discredit him or try to make him look like he's, it's not him, it's his surrounding cast. And it's always, and on the Cowherd thing, it's like, come on, man. We know you want to talk Niners because the Niners are playing on Thursday night and it's national TV and they've got the whole night to themselves. And you can't, the Seahawks don't move the needle. So you got to talk Niners, but you want to be critical of their offense, but you don't want to rip Shanahan because you love Shanahan. So it's like, what do? Well, you park your car at the corner of Brock Purdy and criticism, and there you go. Yep. But yeah, I mean, Purdy, the fact that he was under duress, didn't turn it over, moved within the pocket, ran 4 times for 19 yards. He knows when to move, how to move. He runs smartly. He runs to find a new platform to throw off of. I mean, the guy is playing at a really, really high level, and, discredit him all you want, but I think it's pretty clear at this point that he's a very good NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Do the Niners need to fire the special teams coach? They have more special teams breakdowns, obviously a return that goes for a touchdown, but then Jacob Cowing looks very shaky as a punt returner. He slipped down twice. I'd rather go with Trent Taylor the rest of the way and not take any chances. I mean, stop losing games on special teams. My God, they try to lose the game on special teams every single week. Should Shanahan fire Brian Schneider? I know this is a tough one because nobody wants to see anybody lose their job. I don't like to be in position to call for anybody's head, but at the same time, I mean, this is the NFL, and this is 6 games in, and it's like there's been special teams breakdowns in almost every game. Major ones.
Crazy, too, because when Brian Schneider was the special teams coordinator for the Seahawks, they had good special teams units. He takes a year off. He comes to the Niners. He's hired by Kyle Shanahan, and you're thinking, okay, finally, the Niners are going to be able to improve on special teams. Every year that he's been here, they've been bad. And it's funny because in 2021, they were awful, but then against the Green Bay Packers, they had that pump block. Jordan Willis blocks it, Talanoa Hufanga scoop and score that helped determine the game. But that's like one of the only big moments that the special teams unit has had. And they've been so bad in coverage. They've been ill prepared. The personnel hasn't really made a lot of sense. And against the Rams, that fake punt in which the Rams converted the first down, it gave a dead team life. The Rams were dead in the water, but that fake punt gave them an injection of hope, an injection of life. It changed the momentum of the game. And then last night, they were up 23-3 after that opening drive touchdown. They finally capitalized in the red zone on that dime ball from Purdy to Kittle. And then they give up a 97-yard kickoff return. The game changes. And then the following Seahawks drive, they drive 90-plus yards down the field, and they're able to score a touchdown. And all of a sudden, it's a one-point game. And everybody's looking around like, are we going to let this happen once again on that Niners sideline? Fans are saying, are you kidding me? Kyle Shanahan's going to blow his 19th double-digit lead since being the head coach of the 49ers. It's unacceptable. I don't know if you make a move in season because it's always difficult, because what's the alternative? But special teams continues to really cost this team, and nearly cost this team last night. And Brian Schneider, he's been feeling the heat all year. He should be feeling the heat right now. And for the Niners, when they have these special teams breakdowns in coverage, what's happened the last 2 weeks? Both kickers have gotten hurt. Jake Moody hurts his ankle trying to make a tackle. He shouldn't have to make a tackle as the final valve. And then Matthew Wright lowers his shoulder. He gets hurt, and we'll see what his injury status is moving forward.